Let's go. It is game time. It is Tuesday, April the 18th, and we have USFL likes and dislikes. We have a South Division dominance. We have a frigid forecast in the North Division. Can there be a great divide in the USFL this early in the league? We're going to go ahead and recap our Week 1 rankings and then give you our Week 2 rankings for the USFL. This is Common Sense Bets, and I am J.K. Wilson. We are a small channel with a common sense approach in a big sports betting world. Please click that subscribe button below, as we are a new channel and we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. If you find the content of this video helpful in any kind of way, remember, hit the like button as well, because that also helps our channel grow. By subscribing, you become a common sense soldier and you join the common sense army, and that's people who I feel who are out there just doing it like I'm doing it, grinding and doing the right, responsible thing when it comes to sports betting. Bruh, Week 1 in USFL was very good, and there were many things that to me were very exciting. So let's go into my likes and my dislikes from Week 1 in the USFL. Several key things that I liked about the whole setup of the game, kind of go over my notes right quick if you don't mind, was, loving the quality of the play so far. Everything I saw was excellent. Players really were into the game, and I think the coaching staff did a good job getting these players ready for these contests. I liked how the USFL talks with the players and their families. There were several interviews with the players, and then they would go to the stands, interview the parents of those players. I think that's pretty cool. I think the NFL needs to do more of that, because they do some of that. But the USFL did an excellent job with that throughout the entire game. You can hear the plays. I mean, it's wonderful hearing the plays not only in the huddle, but you hear the plays as far as the coaches calling the plays on the sideline, making adjustments. As a former coach myself, it sounded very familiar. I thought I was back on the sideline, so that was just wonderful right there. And they had a lot of players that just being mic'd up. They had a lot of drama with them being mic'd up, and I love the reality of that. But once again, something the NFL does, but I just think the USFL did a wonderful job with that as well. Now, kind of really didn't have a whole lot of dislikes, as you can tell from what I just said. I mean, I didn't like the fact that they're playing in one stadium, so the first teams that played had a great feel. But the second game, you can tell, and the coaches even spoke about it, how the field kind of got mucked up, because on the next day, they had rain. And then, of course, by the third game of that day, we had a delay. Now, that game was played, of course, but however, the last game of the night was delayed until Monday. So, that one stadium thing, I do understand that for cost and trying to build a league. And I'm sure they're going to, evaluate that and build that system better for next year, spread it out. But I'm sure that's all about a money thing. And we all know, especially at Common Sense Bets, that money is important in how you spend it and how you use it. So we'll deal with that, and gave us a Monday Night Football game on the first weekend of USFL. I'm really not complaining about that at all. Man, oh man, I can say one thing about these games and this USFL league so far. We might have a great divide going on, because I tell you, the South Division was just dominant. I mean dominant. We're looking at possible 4-0 sweep. At this point in time of the making of this video, the Tampa Bay Bandits are actually beating the Pittsburgh Maulers 17-3 with 9:58 in the fourth quarter. Now, right now, they are driving. That will be the Pittsburgh Maulers. But just overall dominance so far of this game tonight, should, I believe, the Tampa Bay win out, that would make a 4-0 sweep for the South Division. And it's looking that way right now, but we'll see how that goes, and you guys can check that out, when this video does upload tomorrow. you'll know the difference of that. But overall, it's just dominant. It's getting kind of chilly. It's feeling a little frigid there in the North Division. So I'm sure those guys are thinking about what they can do to change things around for the next week on week 2. And look forward to a video later this week for a preview of the week 2 matchups for the USFL. Now, before we go into our rankings for week 2, got to do a little quick recap of the rankings that I put out from week 1. And basically, like I said in week 1 on the video, you can check that video out down below in our video list. It was kind of hard to predict what was going to happen, but I think I did a pretty good job. A couple teams got blew up, and a couple of them showed that I had the right evaluation. So let's just do a quick recap. At number 8 last week, we had the Houston Gamblers. At number 7, we had the New Jersey Generals. At number 6, we had the Michigan Panthers. And at number 5, we had the Philadelphia Stars. At number 4, I had the Pittsburgh Maulers, because I love that name. And at number 3, I took the Birmingham Stallions at that place. At number 2 was my New Orleans Breakers. And number 1 last week was the Tampa Bay Bandits. Now, it'll be kind of curious to see how those numbers got shaken up going into week 2. All right, it's that time. Let's get to the true purpose why you guys are here watching this video, and that's the week 2 rankings for the USFL. On this video, I won't go into depth about the players and their stats. We'll take care of that on the next video, so guys, look forward to that. We'll be kind of preview week 2 games and kind of go over those game by game detail analysis. But let's go ahead and get it on. Start it off. At number 8 for week 2, we have the Michigan Panthers. The Michigan Panthers were actually ranked number 6 last week. However, I just feel watching that game and what I saw offensively and defensively, those guys have the most work to do heading into week 2. At number 7, and hard to say it because I love their name, and that's the Pittsburgh Maulers. They didn't really maul a whole lot, and watching them right now in the fourth quarter, they're trying to make a slight comeback, but really this entire game, Tampa Bay has just been completely dominant. So no matter what the final score, I'm looking at the product on the field, and on the field, Tampa Bay is definitely a strong team. Let's move on to number 6, and at number 6, I have the New Jersey Generals. Now, New Jersey Generals are actually up a spot because they were in number 7 last week. But strong team. I really hate to put them there. They could be a little bit higher, but like I say, it's too early to make that definition. They did lose the game, however, but it was a hard-fought game, and for most of that game, the Generals led it. So, I mean, a great showing. I would love to put them higher than that, but for this week, we'll keep them right there at number 6. At number 5 is the Philadelphia Stars. Now, the Philadelphia Stars were number 5 last week as well. However, they did lose their game as well. However, of all the teams, they were right there. They looked strong. They played a very, very good game. Could be the Generals there. Could be them. Once again, going into week 2, we have some data now. But I still just, think they're a little bit stronger than what I saw with the Generals being the Stars. But they had a hard opponent because, they played my New Orleans Breakers. Now, let's go on. Take a look at number 4. Now, number 4 is very impressive to me because that is the Houston Gamblers. Now, the Houston Gamblers were number 8 in my rankings last week for many reasons. Looking at the roster, looking at the coaching staff, based upon the other teams, it just didn't add up. Looking at even the college stats of some of the players, just didn't add up. But my, oh my, did they come out and put on a show. I mean, they played their butts off the entire game. So hats off to them, and they've moved up all the way to the 4th spots. Now, kind of shook up the bottom tiers. Looks like we got like a 3-league tier now. Last week on the rankings in week 1, I said they were 4 levels. Right now, I'm looking at 3 levels. Houston, Philadelphia, New Jersey, definitely there in the mix. And then in Pittsburgh and Michigan, kind of right now rounding out the bottom. But that brings us to our number 3. And at number 3, not much change from last week, and that's the Birmingham Stallions. Birmingham Stallions look good, had a hard-fought comeback win. Didn't look good early on, but, took care of business down the stretch and, shows a lot of promise. So keep them right there where they were at number 3. Let's go on to number 2, and that would be my New Orleans Breakers. Man, they look very good. Look very strong in that win. Of course, like all the teams, everybody was making some miscues and some mistakes. But, that guy on Bellamy on defense, my God. 3 sacks. Defense looks good. Kind of looked like we wanted to, be breaking up the offense, so to speak. So they remain actually in their spot from last week, which I put them rightfully at number 2. And then again, brings us to Tampa Bay. Number 1 last week, number 1 this week. Watching them right now, finishing up this game. Look strong throughout the entire game. Miscues, of course, week 1 jitters, getting used to rotations and getting players coming in and out and just getting a feel for each other. But you can see the quality at quarterback. You can see the quality across the field, the line and defense as well. Pittsburgh is, trying to hang in there, not giving them any shame. But Tampa Bay clearly, in my mind, watching this game right now, is number 1. So that's it, guys, for our Week 2 rankings for the USFL. Please look forward to my next video where we'll do a preview of the 4 matchups that we have going on this weekend. And hope you have a very successful week.